Hello guys, presenting a video after a long time, almost 3 or 4 months. Today's topic is very interesting. 10 tips for successful career transition, especially when I am personally myself going through career transition after a planning of 6 or 7 years. So important point is here is to understand why typically people look for career changes in while they are already working somewhere. So the problem, actually, the main crux of the issue is, crux of the matter is the approach towards careers are different, wrong. Ready, aim, and fire is the sequence that you typically follow. After getting out of the colleges, we typically tend to get the first available job and start working, which is getting ready, firing, and then aiming. Then with once we start working, then we start thinking about what the life goal is, etc., etc. So the approach in the start itself should be ready, aim, and fire. Get yourself ready, aim at what you are trying to achieve in your life, and then fire. Then go for the job. But keeping this aside, let us consider that you are already in the workforce, already working. So and you are looking for certain career changes. Now, typically, what are the reasons? Let us understand the typical reasons because of which people think about making career changes, career transitions. So the first biggest see, there are two things, two approaches to this. Typically, maybe as per my observation, almost 80% people are looking for career changes because of their practical problems, operational issues, whereas 20% look are people, the remaining 20% people are looking at career change owing to their life goals, owing to their passions, etc., etc. So let us understand typically what these reasons are because of which people tend to look for career changes and career transitions. The first and foremost, let us cover 80% population. The first and foremost is boredom. After working in a company or in a role for a certain period of time, you tend to feel bored. You don't feel interested in doing anything. It is a routine, mundane routine that you and the rut of life or the office that you are used to, because of which you lose the enthusiasm in waking up and going to the office and meeting the same people, doing the same things, sending the same emails and reporting the same boss, etc., etc. So boredom is first. Second is long hours. Basically, once the typical working hours can be 8 hours, 9 hours, but as you know, uh, other than the commute, reaching office from home and coming home from office, removing these timelines, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours typically in Mumbai, the actual working hours can be 8 hours, 10 hours, 10, 11 hours, 12 hours. I have seen people slogging right from 10 o'clock in the morning to 9 p.m. in the night. So these long hours tend to take maybe in the initial phases of careers, your body is on your side and you tend to take care of all this. Then your family responsibilities increase and health also needs to be taken care of. So these long working hours tend to take a toll, and then obviously it can result into mental and health issues because of which people tend to look for career changes. Then there is no longer passionate about the field. You may have joined certain organization or certain profile or certain role, looking at monetary compensation or comfort. Office can be near to your home, etc., etc. But after working for a certain period, you no longer feel the same passion, same enthusiasm about the role and the profile. This also can be a reason behind you looking for career change. Then there can be some people look for better work-life balance. Especially after Corona, people understood the importance of spending time with family and close relatives and friends, and then working. Though, so maintaining work-life balance is a priority for many people. And if work is hampering life or life is hampering work, then we need to make certain adjustments, and obviously career change also can be one of them. Then there is too stressful jobs. The jobs can get too stressful considering the pressure it puts on mental and physical health of human beings. So that stress is basically no strict no, especially in the current circumstances wherein food is not very healthy and lifestyle is not very healthy. Stress tends to accumulate all the unnecessary guests in our body. It can be heart issue, BP, anxiety, hypertension, etc., etc. So too stressful kind of work conditions also can lead people to look for career changes. Then obviously there is better pay. Better pay is for people who are financially money minded, basically, and nobody can deny that people want more pay and more salaries and more money. So if you are getting a better opportunity in a certain other career based on your existing skill sets, obviously that can be a good option to change the careers. These are the typical reasons, and obviously not liking boss is one of the biggest. These can be typical some of the typical reasons because of which people may be looking for job changes. We are not considering natural calamities or demotions and pink slips, etc., etc., or maybe health emergencies. That is a separate topic. But these are typical reasons, 6 or 7 reasons that typically put 80% of workforce into thinking that why not look for better of career. Then, as I said, 20% people who are very sensitive towards their life goals, and they tend to think, what am I doing in my life? What about my passions? How do I balance it, etc., etc. So these people, the remaining 20% people, tend to look at career changes because of following reasons: feeling of emptiness, even after doing everything, even after working very hard, even after making a lot of money, then even after achieving all the targets, professional targets, there is a feeling of emptiness that I know that I'm missing something. I'm not able to give back to my society. I'm not able to give back to my family. I'm not able to justify my talent related to other aspects of my life. It can be passion, hobby, social work, etc., etc. So this is feeling of emptiness tends to eat into your minds in a very it is a silent killer basically. People tend to remaining 80% people tend to ignore it or they don't feel it, but 20% sensitive people tend to feel this emptiness, and they start looking for better career changes and better career options. Then there is then the obviously existential question is this what I wanted to do in my life, especially after spending 20, 25, 30, 35 years, especially in our age group, maybe people who are 40, 45, 50. These people tend to think that, is this what I was supposed to do with my life or in my life? Considering all my education, background, culture, passion, ambitions, hobbies, and whatever I wanted to do when I was a child, am I doing the same thing, or am I just running behind the money, or running behind the power, or running behind the materialistic things like I may have first house in Mumbai, second weekend home, farmhouse, fourth house, investment home in Chennai, etc., etc. So I have seen a lot of people who have 6, 7 flats, working professionals, 6, 7 flats, and at the end of the day, they tend to, oh my God, tomorrow I'll have to come to office again. So these kinds of situations people are in, typically in our age group, wherein people have already achieved certain materialistic things and certain power and certain designation and certain experience. So all that initial euphoria has already died down, and now they're thinking about what next. Is this what I wanted to do in my life? Then the biggest question, the people at higher designations or people who are really mature, they have started thinking about legacy. What am I going to leave behind when I get retired or when I leave the world? So these kind of questions, and unfortunately these questions arise when you are 58 and 50, around time of retirement, but it is not the right age, because if you can think about creating legacy at that age, 58, 59, 60, then there is very little time left for you to actually create legacy. So the legacy issue, what am I going to leave to my children, to my family, to my society as a person? These actually things should be started at the right of the career, but unfortunately that does not happen. Existential crisis is more important, earning money is more important, getting a job is more important than all these legacy issues. But at least it is never late to start thinking about what am I going to leave behind. And this is the right time. This is the only right time in your life, in my life, to start thinking about all this legacy. What am I going to leave behind? If, let us say, after 10, 15 years or 15, 20, 30 years, if somebody says, who was Nilesh Kajle? And if other than Google, obviously, if nobody is able to remember, let me give other parallel. Let me ask you one question. Name 3 or 5 people in your surrounding, in your society, city, town, state, who lived in 1950s and 60s, maybe, or 19th century, 18th century. I'm sure you will remember people who have created careers out of their life. I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about power, I'm not talking about anything else, influence. I'm talking about people who have given back to society, who have worked for people, and who have lived content and peaceful and fruitful life. So my point here is, after 10, 15, 20 years, if people ask who Nilesh Kajle was, and if I'm not, other than Google obviously, if people are not remembering me, then my basically whatever flats or whatever cars and whatever bank balance, whatever FDs, whatever foreign trips that I have made, maybe these are limited to the period which through which I lived, and then it dies. So legacy is very important, especially what you are giving to your children. As a working professionals, if you are creating a business and handing it over to your children, that is a legacy. But if you are working a professional and your child is also supposed to work as an employee, then obviously he has to reinvent the wheel and lead the same 30, 40 years of careers. So this legacy is a very big thing, and people have started understanding all these aspects. So this is the only right time to think about it, and this can be a very big reason behind people looking for career changes. So these are typical reasons behind people looking for career changes. Now, 10 tips. The topic is the top 10 tips of successful career transition or career changes. The first tip obviously is to think about your personal brand and legacy. Exactly what your life goal is, what your short-term goals are, what your long-term goals are, and what you want to do, which can be beneficial to you, your society, your family, and at the same time, it can be monetized. Because I've seen a lot of people, a lot of objectives, a lot of agendas that can be excellent from a society perspective, from family perspective, or personal passion perspective, but they cannot help you in sustenance. And career means basically you are taking care of passion, you are doing the work that you like, and you are getting paid for it. Ikigai wala. This is an ikigai case actually. So we must be clear at the very start, before changing careers, that what I want to do in my life, and then only the next step can be considered, which is then only the next step is think about your transferable skills that can be monetized and build them. Obviously, over a period of time when we are working, I'm not talking about freshers, but over a period of time when we are working in the industry for 5, 10, 20, 30 years, we have built certain skills. It can be sales, it can be technical, it can be people management, it can be any other skill wherein you are excellent expert. Then when we are thinking about career changes, we need to understand what those transferable skills are. Whatever skills we have, can we utilize them in the next career that we are opting for, that we are looking for? And then after using all these skills, the transferable skills, can I get paid for it? Because sustenance is important. Obviously, the rainy days and emergency fund and the sustenance fund is important aspect. But if you're working on a passion and you are working for your legacy, and if you're working on your skill sets and you are getting paid for it, then that is the best option. That is the gold sweet spot, we can say. There is one thing, understanding your transferable skills that can be applied, utilized in your next career move. And if there are certain areas, the next point is upskill, reskill, unskill. So what your skills are, we have acquired till this point in time, and there is a career option that we are opting for, that we are choosing for, that we are looking for. Then there are certain skills that needs to be removed, that needs to be unlearned. Then there are certain skills that needs to be upskilled, developed, and then there are certain skills that needs to be reskilled, that we need to understand, or that we need to inculcate right from the start. So this clarity is very important, because whatever we have done in the life till this point in time may not be sufficient to get into the career change and make it successful. The next thing is, if you are, after understanding our skill sets, strengths and weaknesses, and the short-term, long-term goals and legacy perspective, passions, and if everything is working together, you may have 1, 2, 3 options in the careers that you can opt for. Then the next important point comes research. We must understand what we are getting into. Is the area that we are getting into is beneficial in terms of societal benefits, familial benefits, financial benefits, and overall as a state, as a country, what all effect we can do, what all impact we can achieve by working in these areas. We must make sure that whatever decisions we are taking in the spur of moment, they should not be in the spur of moment, but it should not backfire. Now at this stage in the careers, maybe at this age, 30, 35, 40, 45, I'm not sure what the audience is, but if you cannot make mistakes, once you decide on a career change, you cannot work on this career change for 1-2 years and then come back again, because then by that time we have lost the touch with your existing profile, and you have failed in the new profile also. So that will be reinventing the wheel again, which can be avoided. So research is very important. What we are getting into, is there a scope and how effective it can be for others. Obviously, earning potential is important. Then the next is think about how you want to work. Now, if you are already working in a job, there can be multiple ways. You can be working part time, full time. You can be working from home. You can be there can be flexible hours. You can be uh, so these working modalities also needs to be worked out. I have seen some people preparing for a long time and then resigning from the job and starting into the new role immediately, full time. Then there are certain people who take flexible hours, maybe 5 to 10 hours per week they start with, and then they start increasing as the results in terms of money or in terms of impact start coming from the career, the prospective career change. Then they reduce their focus on the existing job, and then they typically transition into the new role slowly. So there can be flexible hours, there can be instant remote work, it can be part-time job, it can be full-time job. This needs to be understood because the planning is very important. Then there is career. Then while doing all this, we need to meet people who are already in that field to understand what the pros and cons of those fields are. See, the grass is always greener on the other side. Until unless you cross over to the other side, you'll not feel the quality of the grass or the patches in the grass and how whether it needs fertilizer, whether it needs proper manicuring, etc., etc., etc. So the next point is career transition plan. Obviously, once you are getting into new role and your existing role is ceased to exist, you can be at a certain level, designation wise, power wise, responsibility wise in your existing job, but you cannot expect the same level. You cannot expect the same level in the new career, new transition, new role that you're looking for. Now, you should not be afraid of starting over at the bottom, because then you're working at a very large. You need to understand the larger context and larger picture, wherein you need to start at the bottom, and then obviously you can build on those steps and reach to a level maybe in 3, 4, 5, 10 years in the new role. So the next point is set aside. Important point is set aside rainy day sustenance fund. I'll not say emergency fund because that is different. Rainy day, whatever. See, basically, once you are getting a new career and you are not getting paid equivalent to what you were getting earlier, obviously there's a delta that needs to be taken care of. In some cases, I've seen initial days you will not get paid for 3, 6, 9 months. So you need to understand that how do we sustain our familial obligations, EMIs, and financial obligations in this period without affecting anybody in the family. Important point also is to understand the support from the family, because if your family is not supporting the career transition, you are doomed to fail. Believe me. Then the important next point is find a mentor. Now, a mentor is very important because I have seen a lot of people after spending 10, 15, 20, 25 years, they are extremely confident about themselves and they chant "Tare tod launga." That is a kind of attitude. But you cannot use the same attitude. You cannot use the same mind frame when you are getting into new career, because the new career is basically fresh start, and you need to understand that you are this mentality of seasoned professionals cannot work here. So there are certain aspects that needs to be curtailed. There are certain tendencies that needs to be curtailed, because we are in learning phase and we are in building phase. In your existing career, you may have reached a certain stage. You may have people helping you, but in this new career, you may not have people helping you, and you are at the very bottom of the hierarchy, and then you are building up. So there are certain aspects that needs to be taken care of, and mentors can help you understand all these aspects, because mentors are people basically who can discuss all your weaknesses, strengths, apprehensions, etc., doubts, confusions, etc. And since he's a mentor, he must have gone through the same scenario in his life, and he may have a bigger guidance circle that can help us in understanding how we can take care of all these mental, physical tribulations. So mentor is very important. And the last point here is 10th point is be patient and persistent, because whatever you have done in life for 10, 20, 30 years before the career change, you already have spent time there. You cannot expect the same results in a very short time in the new role, because new role also needs to be built up. You need to master, you need to work hard, you need to be sincere, you need to be ambitious, you need to be very open to learning, you need to be very open to ask for help from people who are already there. So this patience is very important. It takes time. In my case, I had started in 2016. It is 8 years already. I'm getting into 9th year now. But it takes time to build careers and then build a career change and bear the fruits of those career changes. And persistence. Keep on working, keep on asking for help, keep on seeking help. Never be afraid of asking help from people who are already made that mistakes, and you'll be surprised how helpful these people or these advices can be. So these are some of the aspects of successful career changes, why we typically look for career change, and how there can be top 10 tips that can help us in successful career change. I hope you liked it. Feel free to get in touch with us, and please subscribe to YouTube channel. I'm planning to release regular videos now. Thank you very much.